Hello and welcome to the Adventures of LBZ. I'm your host, Lance Collins, and in today's video, we are going to be setting up and test riding a 2021 Honda CRF300L. And what I'll do is I'm going to put a little bit of music behind the voiceover. That way it's just not me jibber-jabbing the whole time. But yeah, this is a 2021 CRF300L. This is what it looks like when it comes in the crate. And getting a 12 millimeter socket out to disassemble this crate. This bike's pretty much all together. There's not a whole lot you have to do. You got to go over the nuts and bolts and stuff and make sure everything's torqued. I don't show all that in this. I did do all of it, but some of the things, every time I was torquing something or doing something that I was trying to actually get the cool shot on, somebody would walk up and start talking, or walk into frame, and just out of respect, I don't want to have any other people all the way in there, and I don't want nobody mad at work, so I can continue doing this. I'm just pulling the bolts out. This one here, the bike stands up in the crate pretty good. It has the tires are inflated all the way. Actually had to let air out of these tires when I was setting them up instead of adding air usually. But yeah, you undo all the bolts, and it's nothing's gonna fall over on this one. It's got two straps around the fork legs in the front, and you'll see that here shortly. Yep, right there. And yeah, I'll pull all this crate apart here. This is, actually, you can kind of see what these crates look like. This is one of the better of the crates that come in. The metal's a little nicer on this one. I'm thinking about keeping this one, cutting it up into pieces and using it at my house. Usually it's, rusted or whatnot, and just cheaper metal, so. But anyways, as you see, I'm gonna pulling this pieces up, which kind of releases the sides there, and I'll pull that side off. There's another top piece that goes across the center up front. I'll get that here in a second, but making sure that that's steady and none of those are gonna fall and hit any of the windows behind it or the bar. It's actually a window to the service counter up front there. Setting that up here. As you can see, there's actually a fan there today because our AC broke. I'm going to pull the sides there out. Starting to pick up the trash. I actually got to take this to the back. There's a scrap spot that we empty weekly, or sometimes it could be daily if we actually have all the units. It's been tough with everything going on lately to get stuff, not just us, but every dealership. But being a powerhouse, we actually get stuff, and we have another dealership too, so we get stuff a lot faster than some of the other dealerships that are out there, which makes it nice. Scrap pile. Actually, I think all of that was from today. So yeah, we got a lot of units in, and been setting them up. And these 300s are out there, people. These two, actually, I built two of them today, and they were already sold. But yeah, they're coming. I see on there and other YouTube videos and stuff that people have been waiting and biting at the nails and stuff, and where are they at, or this reflector recall, is this what's causing it all? And no, the reflector recall, that's not the big deal. It's just the ports and stuff from where stuff's getting imported from. Everything's been delayed. So what I just unboxed there was there's an owner manual kit inside of that bag, and that's the two mirrors, right and left. They usually, every single bike you'll see, if you watch any of these PDIs, they're kind of wrapped up like that, clear, and then a blue bag that it's wrapped in. And these particular mirrors, which most are 14s. Yeah, these are 14 millimeter wrench here to put these on. You start them by hand. If you try to start them with the wrench there, they never go in. So you have to always get the first couple going, and try to get it all to move at one time so the top's not spinning, the base is spinning, because when you're spinning one, it spins the mirror off the top. So you got to do both at the same time. Kind of a pain in the butt. And putting the other one up same way. And then I'll use the 14 and tighten the bases, and then I'll take the lock nut and make sure that the mirrors are even thread wise on the bikes, and visibility is where it's supposed to be, and lock the nuts down. That's what I'm doing now. Again, that's a 14 millimeter wrench that's doing that. So if you're taking your mirrors off and putting something else on there, you'll need a 14. And you don't have to buy like the world's fanciest wrench. I mean, it's a Snap-on, but that's just because I got to work on people's stuff. I can't maul the edges up and round stuff off, whatever. It has to look just like it came in whenever I get it. Or if it's brand new, it has to look brand new whenever I get done working on it. No grease coming out of it. And so, all the tools we use on them, we clean up. And yes, I am using my knife to cut that off of the grip, but I'm not cutting the grip, so. Thousands of bikes done like that. Clean my trash up, get that bar out that used to stabilize it inside the crate. And now cut the front straps. I think that's what I'm doing now. You don't have to cut them. I just have like a box full of like 2 million of these. So if anybody ever wants some of those short straps like that, just drop a comment, and I might send you guys some of them out. Also, if you see all the bolts that come out of these crates, I pick it up and I put it into like a box that I have beside my toolbox, and it probably weighs about 400 pounds now. And the one on the shelf there is about to break the shelf off of it. But yeah, I'm rocking the bike forward out of there. They're stuck in there pretty good. That's why they stand up with those 2 straps just hooking in the bottom of the fork legs, and it stabilizes it. I guess they put a lot of air in those tires so that it's wedged in those things. Pulling it on the lift. I'm going to clamp the front down, put my safety strap on. If you have a lift, you don't want to kill the front tire there, because actually you can damage the wheel, and I've actually seen people blow the beat off the tire with those, cranking them down so tight. So yeah, it doesn't have to be crazy tight. You just gotta support it up a little bit, throw some safety straps on there. I know these look like they're in real close, but it does the job for these. You got a Gold Wing or something like that on there, and trust me, you want them things as far out as you can get it to keep that thing stable. I've actually had one of these lifts in the past blow a bearing out in the front and completely flip a Gold Wing over onto its seat. Did a complete backflip. But now I'm just got rid of the tie up front there. Got to cut some of the painter's tape off of the bubble wrap there that's wrapped up around all of the cables and hoses that go down to the front. Switching the end out there with a, let's see, if I'm doing the seat, it's going to be a 6 mil, and then the side panels are 5. So yeah, 6 mil for these seats on the Allen, and they're in there pretty loose, from the factory. It zips them out pretty fast because they're really not that tight. It's just got a long thread, so I use those impacts there to take them out. You don't want to slam them in there with the impact back down. I just usually let it run like on the slower setting there, and kind of until it hits, and then I'll come back and torque them. Now this is the 5 mil, and I'm just taking this panel and right here off, and there's actually a push pin which I just pushed down right now with the edge of that Allen. when you're on flat rate, man, you got to use stuff, and as long as you're not tearing stuff up, which I keep a whole bunch of those push pins there. I didn't actually maim up that one or anything, but if it does break, you know, I got a bunch of them in there, and I put one back in the hole. And actually, I had thought it was a 10 mil for the battery, but it's a 5 mil Allen down there also. So I had to put my 10 away and put the 5 mil back on there. And you can pull that panel out, and you can see that usually on the rallies, you can pull it out and hold the side panel out there with that bracket like I was trying to do, but it doesn't do it on the L itself. And wiggle the battery out of there. And for, you know, being a brand new bike, PDI always says, you know, on the sheets to charge them up. So I have a charger that's linked behind there, has all the settings. It'll pick up whatever kind of battery it is, from 6 volt, 12 volt, and, you know, lithium, whatever, balances them if it needs to be. So hook this up here. Sometimes in the videos you see it's a pain in the ass to get on there because there's no spacing on power sports batteries, and they always make the leads bigger than what the battery terminals are. I'm going to put this in the air, and I was going to put air in the tires because I thought, yeah, you know, it'll probably need air, but ended up letting air out of the tires because they had like 30 something in the rear, and I forget, 20 something, 20 or almost 30 in the front too. I think it was what was it? I can't remember. 22 and 25, I think, is what it had to be. Yeah, 22 in the front. So yeah, it was like 23, and then I just put it at 22. 222 Corolla. Put the valve caps back on. Make sure they're on there good snug, not over tight, and snap them. Like I say, I think they had 30 something in this thing. Oh no, 29. So yeah, it was at 29, and I think I had to set it down to 25. And that is just a regular standard, like, Blue Point air thing. I usually get it calibrated every couple years to make sure that it's good still, where it needs to be, because it's very important for motorcycles to, you know, they only got 2 tires on them, so you don't want to hurt somebody by putting improper air pressure in there. And this is actually a not real harsh contact cleaner there. It's that Maxima. It's an electrical contact cleaner, actually, but I use it on the brakes, and that way I don't have to worry about if I go out and test drive it and something catches on fire, if, you know, it puddles up in there, because regular brake clean will sometimes puddle, and then 20 minutes later you can still light it. So yeah, I'll spray this in there, get any kind of it's usually Cosmoline that they put on these things. Or back in the day it was, at least. I don't know what kind of cancer they're putting on them now. Wipe the rotors off, make sure there's nothing in there, and I spray a little down in there by the pads and stuff. I know some people are like, don't do that, but I mean, Jesus, there's a million bikes out there that I've done that to, and I never had a problem yet. Now I got to get some oil from the bulk oil drum. We're using regular Honda GN4, and there's actually some in there from the last one. Just got to add a little bit to it. Everybody goes, oh, and you got to start it first, but actually this thing's like below the sight glass on it there, so I just added a little bit to it there, and that's my nice thing leaking oil onto the onto the lift there. Some people just need to slow down at work whenever they're cranking the oil into that thing, and that's how the oil gets all over the top of it. And if occasionally in the background you hear some clicking noises or anything, it's my dog running around like a madman with his toy, and while I'm trying to do a voiceover here on this. But I am actually putting the owner's manual into the tool case on the side there. What I'm doing there is getting some grease, and on the little grommet there, I just put a little tiny bit on the inside of it there, so that when you're pulling it back and forth, it opens up a lot easier, and it lubes up that grommet. Doesn't dry out in 3 weeks out in the weather on the customer and make it really hard to get it open. And fold it up, put it in there, clip down, the lock will catch it in the front there, and it's in there. Trying to get the key in there from standing below, and it is actually turned sideways instead of forward and to the bike there, so I wasn't getting it in there. Battery comes off. It doesn't take very long with that charger. I think it's a NOCO charger. It's actually fast. We use it in the GNCC racing for some of the race teams out there while we're at the track, and it charges batteries up really quick, gets them to where they need to be so they can go out there on the line, and we do dead engine starts and hit the button and it fires it right up. Sometimes we're running 2 batteries, 24-volt system on them. I've just been putting these in there first and then putting the battery in there because for some reason the nuts like to fall out of the battery, and sometimes the battery doesn't go into the battery case the first try there. As you can see, it sometimes it'll fight you. And this time the bracket was actually hanging down in the back, and I was catching the top brackets. Once I figured that out, which I pulled the battery out, lifted that bracket up that my left hand was on, and then it slid it back in there where it needed to be. But it definitely fights you there for a second. And now I'm just getting my gun back out there, and I'm not running this thing all the way down really tight. You'll see, I think I already had my torque wrench and stuff set from the last 300 I just did. But yeah, snagged that out for the 1/4 inch there. It's already set, yeah. And oh no, I didn't. Yeah, this was the first one actually. So yeah, 84, I believe, inch-pounds on that one. And go ahead and set that down. Hit some Sprite off. Need a sponsor from Sprite. I don't see anybody on YouTube getting the Sprite sponsorship. And the battery terminals on these things are stiff when you first get them there, so you see sometimes they don't tighten up correctly the first time, or whatnot, but you mess with them for a second there and it'll go in there. It's usually the same thing when you buy a new battery too. If you get the new bolts, it's like it's got a lip or something on the edge of the new bolts that you're putting into the nut that goes into the actual battery itself there. And switching some music in the background, I guess I was doing. And that's why I can't play the background music from work, because not only do I have a radio going all the time, everybody else in there has their radio going, so it'd be crazy to sit there and try to figure out what note they're on or tone they're on in the background of the editing thing to block it out. So I just blocked the whole thing out. Fixing the camera because I had bumped it. Thought I had knocked it out of a line, but it actually turned out to be where it was still at. Put the negative on, and I think it went pretty easy actually. The cables kind of formed the correct way right there. It's not bent and twisted backwards, Honda. Come on, guys. But that back up there. It's got like a chrome nut that goes up into those spots, and on the side panel where the battery tray had the black one, or bolt, not nut. The side, I was going to put a little bit of grease on the side panel pins. I usually put on the grommets too, but I just put a little bit there, and it'll loop the grommet up and just make it nicer for the customer later on down the road. It's not going to dry out their grommets. That grease actually doesn't tear stuff up, so get that back in there aligned. Just making sure I didn't have any wires or anything popped out, and just push that in all easily now. Put your push pin back in the top. Push the little centerpiece down flush, and that'll hold it where it's at for now until you put your two 5mm Allens back in there. And this one here, the plastic was kind of in the way, and it wasn't letting me get it in there. I just didn't want to tear up the threads on it, even though I could tap it if I needed to, but I wouldn't want to do it to somebody's bike. And that actually is not me tearing up that bolt. That socket that I got is brand new, and whatever coating they put on there, I don't think it's quite a 5. It keeps feeling like it gets stuck in every single one of them. But it's nice, I guess, though, because it doesn't tear the bolts up. A lot of the other ones, they even though it's it might be a 5mm, you put it in there and it feels loose still, and you'll notice that it'll start to round them a little bit. So you can't even use that 1/4-inch impact there to put them in. And I'm not hammering them down, like literally, like I hit it till it seats, and that's it. And the seat bolt, same thing. I'll hit that after I put them hand tight, because if you don't tighten those by hand, you will strip the frame right there. And it's a pain in the butt. Right in there. Like I say, that thing's low torque one, so it doesn't kill the bolts putting them in there. I think it usually sets those right around 12, I think is where the thing breaks down at. Got the Honda polish, gonna go ahead and wipe this thing down. It wasn't really dirty out of the crate, but I just kind of give them a little, make it a little shiny. 4-wheelers and stuff, when they come in there, they're real dirty, but these been coming in and they've been pretty clean right out of the box. Makes it nice. Don't have to waste all the time sitting there washing those things in the wash bay, unless you take it out and test drive it and it's wet or whatnot out there, and you don't want to turn it back to the customer with mud and stuff on it. You like to think that they got the first raindrops on it or whatnot. My dog's sitting there chewing on this bone. That's probably what you just heard there. And gotta, I think next put the fuel in it, and then take this bad boy for a test drive. Yep, cranking the old fuel cans, filling them regular VP can up there. Some fresh 93 octane with the good old ethanol treatment in it, since that's what kills the carburetors on most bikes, and plugs the injectors on some of the other stuff and tears up the fuel system. O-rings, all kinds of stuff. But it's good. It's good for the environment and stuff. Whatever. And I actually forgot to hit the button while I was pouring the gas there, so I quickly hit it right there at the end. And I don't know, some people like to see the whole process, so I sped up a bunch of them at the beginning, and people kind of got pissed at that. So, trying new things on this thing, learning. Like said, I'd set the time on it, and I'm not going to do it for every single one. If you want to see how it's done, I can always do a how-to video on how to do it, but most bikes are the same.
Okay, this is the 2021 Honda CRF300L. I am getting ready to do a little test ride around the parking lot, make sure everything works on it. This is the part of the final PDI steps. It's already been cleaned off, all the fluids have been checked, the chain has been checked and adjusted. Time set, batteries charged, full tank. So this guy, if you watch the 300 Rally, has the same display. You got your time, you got your fuel gauge, your tachometer, your speedometer, miles per gallon, your trip, and your gear indicator. Up top, you're gonna have left turn signal, right turn signal, coolant temperature if it gets too hot, your ABS light, which goes off once you take off and start riding, neutral lights beside of it, a shift indicator, check engine light, and high beam. And then there's an ABS, so that when you turn your ABS, because this is an ABS model, it shows up here on the dash, which I think it has to be on for that. Controls are just like any other bike. This thing doesn't have any radios or anything, so the controls are just like any normal dirt bike that's out there that has lights on it. Mirrors. Here we go. Starts fast. Initial impression, like I said on the last one, they are a little soft. I'm about 210 pounds. It's probably good for about a 170 pound rider. Perfect weight setup for them. And the clutch is like really light. It hooks up good. I've rode a couple of these of ours, but it's as light as a monkey clutch if you've ever rode a Honda monkey clutch. So let's go. Let's see what she's got. Put that down there. Not gonna go too crazy because brand new tires and customer is waiting for his bike out here in the parking lot. That was almost completely down in the RPMs and second, taking off back there when I made the turn on the pivot. Do the same thing here, except for it's in set or first this time. Completely locked handlebar. And these things, they do run good. The L's, I guess it's because it's got less weight on the bike there. It feels like it's a little bit more peppy, but it may just be me. It may be just the cool air out here today. Do some maneuvering on slick concrete. Just to show you how easy this bike is. I'll do standing up circles, locked out, try not to put my feet down, but that's handlebars locked out, almost complete stop. There's a stop and take back off. But yeah, bike's really easy to ride. I can do it, you know, the other way too. It's not just one way is more balanced than the other. It's completely locked. Seems like it's a beast.
And that is going to be it for today's video. If you liked what you saw, please make sure you hit the like button. Also, if you're new, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.